Elden Ring is a bit of a scary game. I mean, it's no Five Nights at Resident Granny's Slenderman's Jump Scare Mansion maze game in the Ink Machine, and Knuckles, but I'd be lying if I said that this game didn't have some toe-curling, butt-clenching, edge-of-your-seat gaming. I mean, there's tons to be afraid of. There's a deranged seamster who sews body parts onto him for strength. There are cosmic horrors beyond comprehension at every turn, waiting to eat you alive the second you turn your back. A whole section of the game is plagued by space aids and giant dogs. And, oh, America forbid, there's even 4chan users. Luckily, to combat these horrors, the player character, known as the Tarnished, is blessed with the ability to level up, upgrade the weapons they use for a little extra punch, and view the world in a third-person perspective. Today, I wanted to give myself none of that. Well, except for the third-person part. And I wondered if I could beat Elden Ring as just a person. I couldn't level up, nor could I upgrade my weapons. I was stuck at level 1. With weapons that were, to gods, like a stick to a panzer tank. To make the game even harder for me, I also decided to make the game a true level 1 run, which basically meant I couldn't use talismans, armor, or my physick to up my attributes. I was truly just a dude. Well, a dudette, I suppose. I should also mention, I'm not good at this game. Like, yeah, I can fight the bosses and learn their movesets. I've beaten every boss this game has to offer, but I'm not exactly a no-hit god. I only have about a few hundred hours on this game, and I still don't know it all by heart. Essentially, you're going to watch an Elden Ring run, except I'm level 1, have +0 weapons, and I'm bad at the game. This'll be fun. One more thing, please, please, please do not point out every single obviously suboptimal play. 90% of the time, I'll know what I did wrong. I'm just stupid, alright? No need to reinforce that idea. So, with that yap session out of the way, sit back, grab a drink, and enjoy the first part of this Elden Ring dude run. To begin an Elden Ring run, you have to choose a starting class. With 10 options, each class is specifically tailored to a certain playstyle. If you like slinging endless streams of magic at your foes, the Astrologer is for you. If you're new to the game and prefer hard-hitting, big-slashing tanks, you might want to look into the Samurai or the Vagabond. And, if you hate yourself, I would suggest to you, the Bandit. However, none of these classy fellows start at level 1, none except for the Wretch. The Wretch is the hardest starting class in the game, being only level 1, as well as only having a stick, some underwear, and a dream. For our level 1 run, this is our only option. Now, once we've picked a class, we get the option to customize our wonderful Tarnished. To start, I choose body type B. Why? Well, smaller hitbox, of course. Anyways, to fit the theme of the run, I wanted to make sure my character was simply an average Joe. To do this, I kinda just put every slider in the middle. This was the result. I think she's rather pretty, huh? Anyways, the last thing I have to do is pick out a keepsake. I decided to choose the Lands Between rune. Why did I do that? Well, I'll explain it later. Now, my character is created. I'm ready to start this run. I start by skipping through some exposition? I don't know what the guy is talking about. And wake up in a room. Holy crap! I'm naked! This feels like a bad AVGN skit. Anyways, I open the door and find myself in a place called the Chapel of Anticipation. What I'm anticipating, I have no clue. All I know is that when I got down the stairs, I was jumped by this thing, a grafted scion. I was feeling a bit cocky, so I tried to fight it. Yeah, that went about as well as I expected. After that, humiliating defeat, I get another cutscene that I immediately skip. Is there important information in there that we need to know? Who cares? That's not what this video is about. I wake up again, still naked, in this random cave. After going up a sweet elevator ride, I finally open the door to the actual game, finding my way into Limgrave, the first major area in the game. Limgrave is known best for its scenic landmarks, including wonderful coastal beaches, lush forests filled with wildlife and greenery, and of course, the prominent Stormveil Castle. Limgrave is also a great place to get your ass handed to you if you're new. Don't worry, it happened to me, it happened to you. We've all had our struggles here.
What is the fucking range on that shit? What a fucking horribly designed enemy!
Indeed, Limgrave teaches us many valuable lessons. The first thing being, we have no bitches. This information is brought to us by White Mask Fare, who has the nerve to call us maidenless. Oh yeah? Well, you know what? Never mind. He talks to me about game mechanics and tells me to go to the big castle in the corner over there. Apparently I'll find a big surprise, a decrepit demigod named Godrick. Okay then, that's fun. Anyways, I come down these steps and see a guy on a horse. He looks nice. Perhaps I'll ask him for some direct... Yeah, that gag was about as funny as I thought it'd be. Speaking of deaths, I shall be counting my deaths in this playthrough through this app I downloaded on my phone. I can make multiple widgets on my phone to remind me of my failures every time I scroll left on the home screen. Hey look, there's my first death. After that, I opted to skip the Sentinel, running over to the Church of Ella, where I got to the Site of Grace. However, the Tree Sentinel had other plans for me. I swear to God, if you're so in love with me, why don't you just kill... Alright then. After that, I went over and met a merchant named Kale. He has some wares that I need for the rest of the run. This is where I finally popped my Lands Between rune, giving me 3,000... Oh, damn it! I cropped the Elden Ring window too high in OBS. I swear I'm not cheating. I just messed up the OBS. I'm not going to re-record, I'll fix it next video. Whatever. Anyways, I popped the rune to get some extra cash because I really do not want to grind the runes out. Using the runes, I buy a crafting kit, which will allow me to make all sorts of useful goods, a cookbook, which will allow me to make arrows and bolts for if I need to use a bow, and 3 cracked pots, which I can use to fill up with all kinds of nasty things to throw at bosses. Thanks, Kale! After that, I run over to the Gatefront Ruins, where I find a Site of Grace. Running around for 5 minutes really tires out a dude. I think I'll rest here.
Greetings, traveler from beyond the fog. I am Melina. I offer you an accord.
Jeez, I'm just sitting around, and then this lady appears out of nowhere. You know, most of the women in my life tend to just disappear, so you can understand how I'd be a little surprised when it happens the other way around. Anyways, this lady calls herself Melina, and she decides to remind me of my status as maidenless. Seriously, you don't have to rub it in. But what's this? Melina tells me that she can be my maiden, offering me the power to turn runes into strength. All I have to do is take her to the foot of that big tree in the background. Well, turning runes into strength sounds a whole lot like leveling up, and I'm not doing that since I'm just a dude. But I could use the company. Sure, why not? Oh, Melina also decides to give me one more thing. A tiny ring! Is that the Elden Ring? Shit, that was easy. Nah, I'm just messing with you. It turns out I can use this ring to summon a horsey named Torrent, who will basically be my friend throughout my time in the Lands Between. Sweet! After that, I go to put Torrent in my bottom equipment slot, which I have a question about. Is it, like, controversial to do this? I know a lot of people put the whistle in their pouch, but I'm just used to putting it in my inventory slot. Am I stupid? Let me know in the comments below. Now it's time for some setup, but before that, I find a bush that's just talking. Like I do to any talking bush, I whack it with my club, and the bush turns out to be this little monkey man. He calls himself Bach, It seems that some really mean people pushed him out of a cave. Then another mean person turned a guy into a bush. This guy is just having a generational run of bad luck. Anyways, I grabbed some important items, including a map to guide me through Limgrave, and this Ash of War called Determination, which is extremely useful. When you assign this specific Ash to a weapon, you can press the L2 button and increase the damage of your next attack by a whopping 60%. The next item I grab is called the Flask of Wondrous Physic, which you can mix crystal tears into to give you all kinds of funky buffs when you drink it. I also grabbed the Sacred Tear, which will increase how much health and mana my flasks restore. I grab more items, including these crystal tears. One of them increases the damage my charged attacks do, the other one gives me more stamina. But these aren't the crystal tears I really want. I need to find a tier called the Opaline Bubble Tier. It's located in the Weeping Peninsula, which is south of Limgrave. When we drink it, we get a little shield. A shield that reduces the next instance of damage you take by 90%! After that, however, the shield is gone. It also disappears after 3 minutes if you haven't skill issued before then. This item will be vital in the later game when most attacks will kill a level 1 weakling like me in one hit. It's also very helpful to a player like me, who cannot no-hit an important boss for the life of me. However, there's a teensy roadblock. Before you can access this tier, you have to defeat a boss known as the Erdtree avatar, who drops the crystal tier upon death. This boss can be quite intimidating to a character of my level, with devastating attacks that would most certainly one-shot me if I mess up just one roll. I needed to prepare a little more. I needed a good weapon, some fire grease to deal extra damage to the avatar, and some good buffs. The crystal tears I got not too long ago will be just fine, so I suppose I'm good in one aspect. I find another merchant, who despite claiming to be very, very hungry, was selling meat. I suppose he's vegan, which I respect, but I thought beggars couldn't be choosers. It doesn't matter. He wasn't going hungry today, because he was selling something I needed. The Armorer's Cookbook 3, which would allow me to craft Exalted Flesh, a tender, spicy cut of meat that gives me a boost to my physical damage. Unfortunately, I was a few hundred runes short, so what could I do? Well, I nicely asked for some money from the local homeless shelter, and despite them driving a really hard bargain, we eventually came to an agreement. I finally had the cash to buy the cookbook. Hooray! Then I run into this place called Fort Height, where I would like to grab some important items. Unfortunately, it seemed that the residents of this fort were not too happy that I decided to come in uninvited. Luckily, I was able to grab what I needed, including half of an item called the Dectus Medallion, which would be important later. The next item on my shopping list was located in the Mistwood Ruins. I ran past a sleepy, turned angry bear to grab something called the Axe Talisman, which increased the damage of my charged attacks. While I was there, I heard some howling. I wonder what that's about. The next thing I did was 10 sets of tomfoolery, because for some reason, I decided to go after the scarab guarded by some stupid giant crabs. The scarab didn't even drop anything I needed, and I knew that. I was just dilly-dallying. The crabs were ruthless, and almost killed me, but I was able to pick one of them off and take some of its delicious crabby eggs. I know what I'm having for dinner tonight. Anyways, this guy asked very nicely off camera, gave me his pants, allowing me to have some damage negation, though not too much. I looked cool though. After crossing this bridge, I met a blind chick named Irina. She told me about a bloody uprising south of here, in Castle Morn. Irina was worried about her father, and asked me to traverse to Castle Morn to deliver a letter to him. I accepted, though I don't really know why, and I traveled down to the Weeping Peninsula. In the peninsula, I robbed this coffin and found the Morning Star. This will be the weapon I use for the main Limgrave bosses. What makes this weapon so special, you may ask? Well, the weapon has a passive buildup of a status effect called Hemorrhage, which you can inflict on enemies and bosses, each having a different level of resistance to this effect. When inflicted, Hemorrhage deals about 10.5% of a boss's max health, plus an extra 100 damage for good measure. As you can expect, this effect is vital for cutting down bosses' health quickly, as our unleveled weapons would begin to hurt them less and less as we go into later areas in the game. I tested out my new toy on a nearby group of enemies, who did not make it very easy. Seriously, why do people get so mad when I try to kill them? Anyways, I grabbed this map and... Never mind. we're turning the other way. Going back to the gatefront ruins, I run up this hill, where I meet a girl. She doesn't tell me much about herself, save the fact that all of her friends have been grafted. Whatever that. Oh my god, excuse me, lady. Get out! Anyways, what were you saying? Ah yes, an emote, a cute little jellyfish, and a self-pity session. Thanks but no thanks. I grabbed some extra cash for a rainy day by, grave robbing. Yeah, I went to this camp and died over a shield that I probably couldn't use. Go me. And also found some exalted flesh out in the open. Ew, how long was that there? I then ran into this jar man. He was stuck in the ground, so I gave him a little hand. I talked to the jar a little more, and found out his name was Alexander. He had a very contagious laugh, and in exchange for my help, gifted me some... Oh my god, where did you pull that flesh out of? Your ass? Is it like a Limgrave tradition to put exalted flesh in disgusting places? Whatever, I didn't want to be rude, so I just took the ass flesh and walked away. The fentanyl epidemic has gotten really bad in Limgrave lately. Anyways, I find the next important merchant, who sells a halberd! Oh, he also sold this cookbook and sword, I guess. Now, while I couldn't use the halberd, I love this thing, and still bought it, for, sentimental value. My next objection was to go to a kite and sellsword camp and find some fire grease. Before that, I read up on lore. Godrick got his ass beat and licked the feet of the blade of Nicola. Okay, this guy was a freak. I see. Godrick was a man of taste. I made it to the camp, where the Kaiden were very happy and very excited to lend me their cookbook. In return, I tested my Morningstar out for real on one of them. Needless to say, I kicked their butt. The last thing I had to do was grab this whetstone knife, which allowed me to choose the Ash of War I could put on a weapon. With my weapon, the chosen Ash of War, and some other buffs, I was ready to fight the Erdtree avatar. Going down to Weeping Peninsula, I tested out my Ash of War on this homeless man next to the bridge. Lucky for me, he was very well suited in the art of battle, having fought in, like, the Shattering War, or so he said, I don't know. We fought for 7 long days and 7 long nights. Eventually, I turned out victorious. The man, he taught me everything I know. I'll never forget him. Oh, forgive me. With that, I went to fight the Erdtree avatar, and it went a little something like this. Well, I have no clue what demon possessed me, but I was able to kill the Erdtree avatar on my first try. I didn't even take a hit. Now, one thing I didn't know is that if you use determination on an already greased weapon, the grease just goes away. strange thing, but I suppose I didn't need the help from the extra fire damage. I will make sure to note that for later. With my victory, I got the tier I needed. I felt so successful, I had to use the restroom. When I came back, my screen was like this. I guess something had killed me. I think I know who did it. Let's just say I got my revenge. The next thing I did was buy a lantern from this merchant. I love the lantern. It's a cute little thing that lights up when it gets dark. Nothing more, nothing less. Best item in the game. Now, I needed some finishing touches before fighting the next boss. At a farming spot for resin, I met a swordsman named Bernal. He asked me about my faith in whatever, I don't know, I skipped through his dialogue. He sold me some pretty cool Ashes of War, ones that I would remember to take if I so needed them. The final step was here, a guy on a horse. He dropped a very useful Ash of War called Golden Vow, which gave you buffs when you used it. I was quite surprised to find out that the guy who drops Golden Vow can use Golden Vow, but it didn't stop me. I got the Ash of War I wanted. Finally, after putting the crystal tears of choice into my physic, I was ready.
Foul tarnished. In search of the Elden Ring. Emboldened by the flame of ambition. Someone must extinguish thy flame. Let it be Margit the Fell.
Margit is an omen with some attitude. He stands at the front of Stormveil Castle, guarding the Great Rune from any lowly tarnished that stumble upon him. He is the first major skill check of the game, and in most runs, usually can get obliterated pretty easily if your tarnished does explored a bit. Unfortunately for me, I was obviously not the strongest. While Margit can get clapped by anyone with a great sword and half a brain, fighting him at my level took some skill, and a little luck. His boss fight consists of a first phase with slower attacks from his battle cane, mixed in with quick swipes from his little golden dagger. In his second phase, he adopts a giant spectral hammer for slow but crushing attacks, and a sword that, mixed with his cane, can perform some deadly combos. My first attempt was full of whiffs, as well as attacks that I really should not have let myself get hit by. Unfortunately, I was not victorious. For my next attempt, I mixed and matched different buffs, as well as getting more accustomed to Margit's patterns. That was the ass me one, by the way. My game plan was to dodge his bigger combos, then try to punish with stance breaks and bleed procs. Margit was a fierce foe, however, and wasn't gonna let me get him so easily. He punished my poor dodge timings and attempts to get extra greedy hits, his dastardly 4-hit combo being a menace to roll through as well. I'll admit, this was a tough fight. Here are some of the highlights. On my last attempt, I was able to get an early bleed proc, which would be an immense help. Bleed is a status effect in Elden Ring that you can inflict on enemies and bosses, each having a different level of resistance to this effect. When inflicted, Bleed deals about 10.5% of a boss's max health, plus an extra 100 or 200 damage, depending on the weapon and affinity. As you can expect, this effect is vital for cutting down bosses' health quickly, as it brought down our Omen friend's health quite a bit. I was able to get some damage from this riposte, which brought Margit into his second phase. I tried to play a little bit more safely this time. As you can see, I strategically tank these 2 hits in the combo so I can dodge the devastating final hit. After realizing my genius when it came to combat, Margit changed his strategy. Attempting to corner me into the wall, we go back and forth. Margit almost gets me because I couldn't roll through this random post. Fuck that post, by the way. It was close. I had drinking my last healing flask, and Margit's health was tantalizingly low. I needed a lucky bleed proc if I was going to win this. Phew, that was close. With some skill and perseverance, and a little bit of luck, I was able to defeat Margit at level 1. Wow, he even gave me an extra pouch to hold a talisman in, and was gone. I felt good. By the way, if you'd like to see an unedited version of my winning attempt, I'm going to put a playlist in the description below, where you can watch the full fight. It's mainly just there to prove I killed the bosses legitimately, for those of you who might be a little bit untrusting. I rest at the next site of grace, and Melina returns to talk to me more. She tells me that she has been testing me. Apparently, I passed that test by killing Margit. As a reward, she brought me to the Roundtable Hold, the gathering place of champions. I mean, sure, sounds nice. I really hope you don't, knock me out or any— Oh, god damn it! Well then, I've made it to the Roundtable Hold, and there I meet some new faces. Dialos, a knight of dashing looks, looking for his servant, Lanya. Corin, a man of the cloth who can teach me incantations, and this geezer. His name is Gideon, and he kindly welcomes me to the Roundtable Hold as my senior. While exploring, I find this guy who just looks at me. Okay. I also meet the Twin Maiden Husks, who sell me weapons that I may need to use. We are running at only level 1, so we need all the usable weapons we can get. Finally, I meet Smithing Master Hugh, who can upgrade my weapons. I'm not really sure what that means, but he's also able to apply Ashes of War on my weapon. With the dagger I bought from the Maiden Husks, I apply Golden Vow to it with Hugh's help. When used, Golden Vow gives an 11.5 increase to damage, and a 7.5 increase in damage reduction. Sure, compared to the actual spell, it's like buying a Nintendo Switch off of Temu, but we don't have enough faith to use the spell, so this is the best we can do. I suppose we could go to Stormveil now, but I honestly want to explore a little more. I run past the Saint's Bridge, saying hello to the local crackhead, and then find a fellow named D. D tells me of a nearby village, touched by death, whatever that means. He tells me to stay away, but I've never been one to listen, and I decide to go check it out. I find a Tibia Mariner. He looks like he's having a nice day swimming around. How about we ruin it? Applying my Golden Vow, I find out that this dagger sucks. Even with holy damage, which Tibia Mariners are weak to, it does little to no damage. I opt to switch to my Morning Star near the end of the battle, which proves to be a smart choice. Despite the Tibia Mariner and his friends putting up quite the fight, I killed him pretty quickly after I switched my weapon. Yeah, I don't know why I picked the dagger in the first place. It was weird. Anyways, I find that D was watching me this whole time. He tells me to give that death root to a clergyman named Garank, and sends me off with a marker on where to find him. I'll check it out later for sure. In the village where I killed the Tibia Mariner, I find the green turtle talisman, which gives me an increase in stamina restoration. Considering how little stamina I'm gonna have, this should be very helpful. Unfortunately, I had to take off my pants to keep my light rolling. It's been a couple seconds, Godrick Soldier Greaves. I really miss you. The Tarnish took you off because they needed light rolling. I can't fucking do this. Oh, I also found an invitation to the Death Grips concert in Aguil Lake. Ugh, I hate that band. I've gotta see them! I'm basically naked, but that shouldn't be a problem. Running over to Aguil Lake, I meet Yura, who, like D, warns me of a monster ahead. A fearsome dragon rests in Aguil Lake, so says Yura, and so says me. I had to check it out. Amongst the loud, discordant blast beat rap of Aguil Lake, I searched all around for the said dragon. Hello? Dragon? Hello? Not here. I swear to God, I've met like 5 guys named Dragon here, but I don't think any of them was the one Yura was talking about. I'm starting to get a little skeptical. There are no dragons in Aguil Lake. Holy shit, there are dragons in Aguil Lake! Well, the dragon, who was named after the lake, Aguil, just crashed a Death Grips concert. As the attendees run away, I prime my Morning Star, realizing that if I kill this thing, I could get a shout out from MC Ride. Yeah! As you might imagine, a dragon is a fearsome foe, flinging fire and flying foully across the stage, burning all of the propeller hats and cocaine lines at the concert. This will not stand. Agil proved to be a tough foe, but through the power of the Noid Boy flowing through me, I was able to slay Agil. I got a dragon heart, metal as hell, and for my brave efforts, I got to go on stage for Death Grips' next concert. After the show, I go backstage, where I see Yura again, who congratulates me for saving the day. He tells me of a church west of here, where I can use this dragon heart to gain some sick dragon powers. Well, that sounds cool. I go to the beach, where Yura said the island was, but I found that the island was blocked by deep water, and I can't swim. Oh, I also found this merchant who sold some weapons in a cookbook, but I don't really think that matters that much. I'll need to find a way in. Maybe this cave entrance? Oh my god, Bach! What happened to you, man? It seems that poor Bach was just trying to get his stuff back from a group of demi-humans, and those jerks beat him up. I had to help him. Running through, I took out some guys who were mucking about. I was thinking to myself that this wouldn't be as bad as I thought it would be. That was until I found the Rat King. It seemed that these guys were not very happy to see me, and considering that there were 2 boss health bars, I knew I was in for a rough ride. Sure, they got me once, but the next time I was able to take down both chiefs. It seems that when I killed their leader, they all bowed down to me. I was the new hobo queen, it looked like. I made sure to treat my subjects very well. Anyways, I had gotten back box things, and after finding the Church of Dragon Communion that Yura was talking about, which had nothing I could use, thank you, Yura, I came back and gave Bach a sewing needle. Bach, as it turns out, had some mommy issues. That sewing needle was one of the only things left that reminded Bach of his mother. Since he was relatable as frick, I felt good helping him. I wished him good luck on following his dreams as a seamster and headed off. The next thing I wondered was about that howling I heard in Mistwood earlier. If anybody knew what it could be, it was my good friend Kale. Heading back to the Church of Ella, I meet a blue lady. Oh god, the last time I approached a blue lady, I woke up in a rice farm in Bangladesh. I had to work for 5 years with a kind but strict family of 5 to get a plane ticket back home. You can see why I may be a little nervous. It turns out the blue lady was kind, however. She was a witch who called herself Rena. She talks to me about a naked tarnish riding a horse around, asking if that was me. Yeah, I guess. After giving her my autograph, it turns out she was a Death Grips fan as well. She gave me a bell that could summon spirit ashes to help me fight. I appreciated the gesture, even though I wasn't going to use them. Everybody knows that you haven't beaten Elden Ring if you use spirit ashes. The only legitimate way to play the game is to do a no-hit, no-arms, and blindfolded speedrun. Man, that is what the true pros do. Anyways, I talked to Kale about the howling in Mistwood. He gives me a gesture to use, telling me to use it if I hear the howling again. Alright then. After tracing my steps back to the Mistwood ruins, I call down this doggy fellow. It turns out his name is Blythe, and he is looking for someone named Darawil. He asks if I can help him. After looking around for a while, I finally find Darawil and call Blythe to come help me. Together, we kick that hound's butt. Blythe rewards me for the help with a somber what now? What am I supposed to do with this? Whatever. My next task is... Fine, I'll get it. I come back to that scarab in Agil Lake, wanting to show him who's boss. Come here, you... Oh, damn it! After dying more times than I'd like to admit, I walked away victorious, with an Ash of War that I most likely couldn't use. It was really more a win for the ego, I guess. Feeling good, I explore some more, before finding myself stopped at this cave entrance by Neregus, a bloody finger who is out for my head. Luckily, Yura comes in to save me. Yura, you can kill him! Getting my confidence back, we take out Neregus together. Yura, why did you help me?
Because Neregus talked shit about Death Grips on Reddit. His sus blood will be forgotten.
Oh, so that's why they call you the Death Grips Hater Hunter. After that ordeal, I find myself in this tunnel of bandits, where I get into another fight. Man, I was just walking in. I found this chest and looted it, finding some sweet clothes. Turns out, this bald man had seen me steal, and begun attacking me for my thievery. Promptly, I kicked his ass, and he eventually backed off and surrendered. I decided to spare him, even if he tried to kill me. I suppose it was fine if he wasn't willing to fight anymore. Hey, crazy story! This guy, whose name was Patches, mistook me for a demi-human. Can you believe that? And he tried to attack me. What a funny story. Though, he does seem quite familiar. It's probably nothing. Anyhow, Patches talks to me about opening up a shop, so I should visit soon. Well, why not? You seem like a completely friendly guy who I can trust. The next place I visit, I hear sounds of a man yelling. He called himself Kenneth Height. He was very racist. Apparently, he was next in line to be ruler of Limgrave. I don't know what he expected to get out of this bunghole, but that wasn't the point. Kenneth told me about a group of bad guys who had overrun Fort Height. Hey, I remember that place. I offered to help him take it back and begin my... Wait, what? Oh yeah, begin. That's great writing. And begin my journey in taking back Fort Height. In reality, I had wanted revenge for my last time there, but knowing that I could help somebody out in exacting revenge, it was suddenly morally just. It was the perfect plan. I headed over to Fort Height and began clearing it out. Since I was much stronger than before, I had no trouble taking out the goons. However, the main man in the siege, a knight who could do blood attacks, was a bit harder. I was able to take him out, giving him a taste of his own bloody medicine, and I reported the news to Kenny. He was delighted. He gave me a weapon I couldn't use, and told me about how he could talk to demi-humans using the Erdtree or something. Alright, man. Next, I realized that I had forgotten to buy something from Kale, the telescope. Using it, I would be able to do some sick, aesthetic landscape shots for these videos. Yeah, landscape shots. Anyways, speaking of magic, I took out this pumpkin guy. He seemed to have been guarding this sorceress named Selin. She was apparently cast out of a place called Raya Lucaria for being freaky or something. I don't know, I was distracted. Anyways, she offered to teach me magic, so I said yes. With that, I bought the only sorcery that a true level 1 character can use, the Glintstone Pebble. Trust me, I looked. And there's nothing else that has a requirement of 10 or less intelligence. If we got desperate, our sorcery would be, limited. I wasn't sure what to do next, but I did remember that the Irina girl had asked me to take this letter to her father in Castle Morn. I guess I did know what I was doing next. I ran to the castle, breaking the ankles of this big archer, and ran in. I went up this elevator, excited for some adventure, and found... absolute fucking pandemonium. It seems that somebody got a little ingy, because when I got to Castle Morn, there were dead folk everywhere, as well as monsters and rabid dogs at every corner. I suffered some pretty stupid deaths, including these dogs, this dog pile, this gang up. I could deal with one misbegotten. 2. I can... Well, I guess we know my limit. Eventually, I started bringing the elevator back down, just in case. No. Haha, I can climb. Oh, you can too. I swear, I don't know how many of these things I've killed. Yeah, I think I'll just be Swiss with this one. Eventually, I found Irina's father. His name was Edgar. I found him lamenting on the fall of the castle. He appreciated the gesture of me giving Irina's letter to him, but he told me that he was not leaving the castle until this pest problem was fixed. Well then, I suppose I have to help him. I'm not here. They know I'm here! Get up the ladder, damn it! Well, I need to get down here anyways. I'll suppose I need to find... Oh. The platform was not there. Okay. Eventually, I found a fog gate that led to the Leonine Misbegotten. Perhaps if I killed him, the castle would have been a little better? I don't know. The Misbegotten was tough. I wasn't as familiar with its moveset as I was with other bosses, and many times it killed me. My plan to fight it was similar to what I did with Margit. Wait for him to do a combo, then punish him. I don't know why, but I kept getting greedy and impatient. I kept dying in stupid ways. This one time, I got both a bleed and a riposte on him, but my lack of knowledge on just how delayed that overhead swing was is what killed me. Oh, come on, that wasn't even 10 seconds! This time I just got greedy. My last try was cheek clenching. The Misbegotten was draining my flasks like nobody's business, and there were many times where I almost died. I was out of flasks. I needed to wait for him to do an attack with a big punish window.
Thank you for the happiest year of my life. Thank you for the happiest year of my life.
Checkmate. With that really corny finish, why did I say that? I was rewarded with the Grafted Blade Greatsword. I couldn't use it, but that was whatever. I was just glad to tell Edgar that the boss was dead. He thanks me, and vows to spend the rest of his time alive with Irina. I'm not crying, you are! With that finished, I believed that I had helped all the people I could. I was ready to go to... Hey, remember that timestamp I put earlier in the video? Want to see me prank the people who use that timestamp? The first thing I noticed was this big closed gate. I wondered if there was a way to open it.
Come over here, would you?
This guy was called Godrick. He advised against using the main gate to the castle, and opted for the side entrance. Oh, come on, I'm sure the main gate couldn't be that bad. I don't know why it didn't move there, but I think Godrick was right. Let's go through the side entrance. As I walk through, I'm blocked from the grace by these damn birds! Let me tell you how much I hate these birds. They have the worst hitboxes in the history of ever. You can never hit them unless they're in the middle of an attack, which in that case, you better pray that attack will kill them, or it's killing you. And it's also flying. Everybody knows that flying enemies in Elden Ring suck! Anyways, with that aside, I was lucky enough to grab the grace before I was ganked, and even took a bird out on the way. Speaking of ganking, everything in this castle comes in a pair of two. These random knights, these random guys, these... Ooh, hook claws. I can't use them, but ow! If they're not paired up, they're tanky as hell. Mr. Executioner here took out half my health in a single hit. I don't even want to know what that guy does, and... Ooh, this one makes me mad. Well, this doesn't look dangerous at all. Some jerk-off locked me in a room with this big dude. I don't know who this sword guy was, but when I came at him for round 2... Ooh, I got violent! Anyways, I took the 2 items in this room, a rusty old key and a curved sword talisman, and I totally shaboomed that effer. Nah, I'm joking, I ran away with my tail between my legs. Next, I used the key to open the door, and climbed up this little ladder. By the way, if you're new to this game, always check around this specific corner. There's some bozo trying to sneak attack you. Never again. I got to the next grace, and knowing that there were more birds in the next section, I took an alternate path. Oh yeah, rooftop run, man, rooftop, yeah! Anyways, I killed another group of enemies, then climbed up a ladder, finding the claw talisman. This one was pretty good, but I opted not to use it yet. Around this time, my friends and girlfriend invited me to call them, so I just decided to record while I called them. My mic was not on in OBS, so you can't hear my voice, but we had some very sophisticated conversations.
Video. Guys, I just want to say that John Clam is a bitch-ass motherfucker.
John Clam
And
is
gets
a
on my
predator.
wife.
Talking to my baby.
Precisely. That's a fucking lie. Okay. In the jungle,
The mighty jungle, the lions sleep tonight.
Cut, guys.
Let me get
What
that
the fuck
grace.
was that, guys?
Okay, I got the
Sorry.
grace.
I should lock in, shouldn't I?
Yeah. Really?
Fucking
Face?
Hawk Tula.
No.
You ever heard that one before?
God fucking Jim.
But I'm not dying. I met her in the summer. Till my heart beats sound. Man, What if instead of being a Sigma?
Anyways, I killed another scarab and met this lady. Oh, was I interrupting something? This is Nefeli Lu. She's in this castle because she wants to kill Godrick. How cool! She offered me help if I needed it, but I was too cool for that. Well, that was certainly a Stormveil Castle experience, but now I was at the Fog Gate, and I was ready to fight.
Mighty dragon, deliver me unto greater heights. Well, a lowly tarnished, playing as a lord. I command thee kneel. I am the lord of all that is golden.
Godrick the Grafted, an amalgamation of different horrific body parts. In the lore, this deranged seamster was known to attach different body parts to him in a process known as grafting, to gain strength. This horrific activity is what caused Godrick to become the smorgasbord of body horror. Godrick's fighting style is much more defensive than Margit's. He will try to bat you away with his giant axe, and if you get too close, he will use this silly tornado attack, comboing it into other moves. Godrick has harder hitting attacks, but also much larger windows to punish him, with charge attacks and the like. While he's got his fair share of delayed attacks, every swing with his weapon feels really natural, and dodging him is a challenging but also quite fun experience. His first phase is quite easy. Simply roll back when he starts a combo, then run in when he's finished. The main issue comes in his second phase. Holy crap, he just grafted a dragon on his arm! A dragon! With this living flamethrower grafted to him, your worries are now doubled, as along with his axe attacks, Godrick begins to mix in dragon fire with his attacks. You'll notice that his dragon arm is also a lot bigger than his old arm, making it harder to dodge those attacks. Everything about this boss has been upped by 100, and the challenge becomes real. It's why I believe he's such a solid boss, especially for so early in the game. Unfortunately, while my first attempt was going with flying colors at first, I didn't quite stick the landing. You wanna know why? Because of this stupid fire attack! Seriously, no other flame attack in the game does this. The fire turns into these stupid weird-ass rolling flame cheese curds that damage you long after Godrick stopped shooting fire. He did it this first time, which was fine, I guess, but after cornering me with this volcano attack, he does it again! That really tilted me, and I unfortunately choked the first try. Here are some highlights. Here's a funny part. I had Godrick really low, but got greedy with trying to kill him. I didn't record my reaction to this, but here's my impression of me in that moment. No, dude! He was literally 1 HP! He was 1 HP! Here's how my last attempt went. I tore down his first face with relative ease, but his second face was kicking me in the butt. If you're watching the full fight in the description, you might have gotten to this point and said, "Hey John Clam, why is there still half the video to go?" Well, it was kind of hard to punch down that eensy-weensy bit of health. Godrick did not hold back this attempt. He used that stupid fire attack, but with some Toho level roll spamming, I was able to not die. My goal at this point was to be safer, hitting only once at the end of his big combos. I got him real low here, and eventually, boom! Down goes Godrick. That was an interesting fight. Anyways, I got Godrick's Remembrance as well as his Great Rune. They can give me some cool stuff, including 20,000 runes and half the Great Runes needed to get into Leyndell. Yeah, at the end of this treacherous castle, I meet Gostok again, stomping on Godrick's dead little body. He thanks me for killing him and opens up his shop. He didn't sell much, only this Castus, I don't know, a little fist weapon that I could use. Thanks, Gostok! How nice of you to not only open the main gate for me, but to also help redirect me to the side entrance. You are a very good NPC who could do nothing wrong. Well, with that, I'm pretty much finished with Limgrave. I want to check on some folks before I set off to the next area, but that'll be a later video. For now, this is where I go off. My current death count is about 30. I assume as I go farther into the game, this number will increase exponentially. It'll be fun. I don't know. Anyways, thank you very much for watching. I hope you have a good day, and if you want to see more of this content, be sure to let me know. It's good motivation, trust me. Anyways, I will see y'all in the next part of this run. And remember, play Elden Ring, have some fun, and if you think you recognize me, no you don't, bye!